I fucking love it! So, I don't want to know about 3% week on week. I want to know that we're killing the opposition. I want to be cutting their throats. Our rivals should be checking in up back of their chauffeured cars because they can't believe what we did. So fucking spicy. So true. Something everyone knows, but nobody says because they're too fucking lily-livered.
You're popular. So that was, of course, the incomparable, mesmerizing Brian Cox in the role of Waystar media titan Logan Roy, father of 4 twisted, cringeworthy children, Kendall, Shiv, Roman, and Connor. They're berated by him in life, they're haunted by him in death, and they're eternally doomed to seek his approval. And the creator of this irresistibly awful dynasty is, sitting beside me here, the award-winning writer, executive producer, and creator of Succession, Jesse Armstrong. So, welcome, Jesse.
Thank you.
Welcome. So much ink has obviously been expended on the Roy family being modelled on the dynamics, of the Rupert Murdoch clan. And of course, there's also a huge dollop of Sumner Redstone, actually, and many others, I'm sure, in the concoction of the Logan Roy character. But so why did you become so fascinated by these late life, media mastodons?
I think people who are interested in the show, maybe to an unusual degree, might know that I wrote a screenplay about Rupert Murdoch and his family a long time ago in the 2010s, and so I guess that's when I started thinking about doing something in this area. Latterly, it was hard to get that show that it was really a screenplay made, and so a long time later, it was reading journalism. Actually, it was reading Tom Bower's book on Maxwell, Sumner Redstone's own book on himself, which is not a great read, but and The Jinx, the TV show on HBO. Also Tom Bower's Conrad Black. Anyway, I think and the Redstone, as we said, it started to feel like there were some common psychological factors amongst these people. Which were, I get the first massive one that struck me is actually just about mortality, in that both Sumner Redstone and Rupert Murdoch have made jokes about not wanting to have to pick a successor because they wanted to live forever. And
alas, it seems to be true.
and that's a joke, but I think it's an impulse we all feel a bit, that you can't really believe it's going to all be over. And I guess their tremendous appetite for deal making and appetite for life in some ways, slightly disgusting ways in Sumner's case, felt very visceral. So that was the first big thing that struck me about their commonalities.
So one thing you said to me, which I was rather enchanted by, was that you actually read Harry's book, Good Times, Bad Times, when you were prepping, to do the show. Actually, the other day I found this wonderful picture of Harry with the then editor of the Times, William Rees-Mogg. At the time that the deal with Rupert was that was the press conference to announce that Rupert was in charge. I think Harry's reaction is very clear. But what did you get out of Good Times, Bad Times?
Well, it's a great book. It's a great read, as you're probably very aware. And so I was honoured to be invited along. It's a great read. All the really insidery. I'm not a great one for in-person research. I prefer secondary stuff. I just do. But full disclosure, Andrew Neil's book, and especially Good Times, Bad Times, the seeing what it's like to be inside getting bought and to be lied to, and to have somebody who will use untruths straight to other people's faces, it's like a superpower. If you're able to do that and be convincing, and I think possibly even believe it yourself as you're saying it, it's so powerful. And to read an very intelligent person's experience of being somewhat seduced, somewhat bullied, somewhat positioned. There's a wealth of material that if you change all the names and all the dates and the business organizations, you can draw on to steal stories. But more than that, that strong sense of what it's like
to be seduced by that.
To be seduced and to be lied to.
Yeah, fascinating. Well, of course, the fascinating thing about Succession has been the way that it's both mirrored, transmuted and predicted real life at every turn. It's really been remarkable how, things keep happening that appear in the show and vice versa. What for you has been the most amazing Life Imitates Succession moment as you've been on this long journey? I loved it when Roman's rocket blows up, and then just a few weeks later, Elon's rocket blows up.
Yeah, a lot happens in the show. And therefore, I think occasionally you're going to accidentally throw, we're throwing a lot of darts at the dartboard and some of them are going to hit, if that's what it is. It isn't our intention to sort of predict reality. And most of the stuff that I think sometimes one feels we've predicted things, it's all in the papers. It's all, if you read the FT every day, these deals are happening, the stuff is happening. I don't think we have a particular degree of prophecy. We're just taking stuff kind of ripped from... Often these deal shapes, there's one in the show that people who are watching it at the moment. I think probably the biggest inspiration for there's a tech company is trying to buy the subject of the show, Logan Roy's company, and I think the AOL Time Warner deal is the best real life analog, and that's. I can't remember how many years ago, but it's a while. So true. And it was another one of these... Tech's coming, we need to buy...
Another one of these massive mistakes, huge blow-ups. Obviously I'm fascinated by your team and how they get into this process. They're obviously remarkable, all of them. They seem to be able to see round corners. Are they all media junkies? Are they all obsessed with media? Or are they just your team that work for you, your writer's room?
My fellow writers? A bit. I've always encouraged everyone to read widely, and we have a bit of a reading list that's I encourage people to read, and they're all media literate. You don't have to be a media studies professor to enter the writing room. You can come with other skills as well, because it's equally important to know about family dynamics and what men and women are like and work in all sorts of ways. So yeah, and actually Marissa Maher, who used to work at the Wall Street Journal, is here, and she will come in and set us right if we are going wildly off beam. So we try, and I think mainly talk about family dynamics, the architecture of the deals. We can, as long as it feels broadly right, we can figure out later.
I feel that one of the inevitable sort of messages of Succession is that we sort of need these big alpha business bastards, if I may summarize it, to create these behemoth companies. And you see how much that company and that family, those dynamics, absolutely need Logan Roy, as the Sun King at the center of it, who does also know a tremendous amount about business, which the kids totally don't. What are your thoughts about that? Look at these big media people. Is this what is required? You have to be like a Logan Roy?
Oh, that's difficult, and I hope the show doesn't sell you one single thing. So if that's what you take from it, more Logan Roys, good luck.
I know. Well, it's just that this company falls apart without him. So it's fascinating to see that dynamic.
Yeah, I guess talent is sprayed around in unusual ways, and the kids, Shari Redstone seems to be doing a decent job in holding together CBS Paramount. It's possible, but you've got to be lucky to inherit the skills necessary to, run a large media organization, right?
Well, I know, but one of my favorite scenes of all in the show, and I've replayed it so many times, is when the kids, in their desperate bid to get out of their father's realm and create their own media platform, talk about their ideas for a new digital startup they call The 100, which they hilariously call Substack meets Masterclass meets The Economist meets The New Yorker, right?
Okay, so we're looking for investment partners for a revolutionary new media brand that's going to redefine news for the 21st century.
It's an indispensable, bespoke information hub. And then I go, the 100 greatest experts, best writers, top minds in every field, from Israel-Palestine to AI to Michelin restaurants, one-stop info shop, high-calorie info snacks.
I'm just going to take that.
Taking a call?
Oh, God. At the end of that episode, the kids in their incredible distractibility suddenly dumped the 100 completely and then instead outbid their father for a huge old media property, the Pierce company. And, he has this incredible line, Logan, which he says to the kids, and he utters this devastating comment to them. He says, "I love you, but you are not serious people." Very profound, I think. It's such two different ways of looking at the word. Well, talk about the writing of that scene.
Of that one?
Well, that one, and also you're not serious
Not
people.
serious people. I sometimes clam up a bit when I try and decode it or say what we were trying to say, but I can talk a bit about it. That one, I guess the only thing to say about that is I saw some commentary about what a bunch of assholes they are and stupid media brand. I guess in the writer's room, hopefully once we've got the idea, we peer over the edge into sort of satire and ludicrous ways of pitching it. But it's not like we had 20 other better media ideas in our room. We were like, what, if you were going to try and do something, and you know a lot of people, and you pull something together, kind of, will this do? So I think we have a certain amount of sympathy with them. It's hard, right? I've got to do a new media brand, and be like my dad. Maybe. So we're not looking down on them thinking, obviously what we want you to do with a new media brand is we don't have the answer. So I guess we're on some level on the same side as them, and then are able to maybe put our fingers in their wounds a little bit and wiggle them around a little bit to enjoy how painful it is to be the son of someone powerful and trying to create your own sphere. You're not serious people. Yeah. That episode was written by Tony Roach and Susan Sinhe-Stanton, colleagues from the writers' room, and everything gets worked on all together. But the one interesting thing about that was that we knew, how do we feel about spoilers? We knew that would be a very significant conversation for people who know the show, and that it would be an important moment. And so we knew that, and it was a question of giving that due weight, but not coming back and rewriting it in the light of subsequent events.
I see.
That sounds very opaque.
Yes,
I could be more interesting if I gave spoilers.
Okay. I'm also fascinated by the fact, you're British, and this is such sort of fine American satire. The room I know is a big mix of sort of American and English, and of course the cast are the same. And you've got Tom, who's British, and Sarah Snook, who's Australian, and it's an extraordinary mix. But I am very intrigued about how close and fine, the satire is of sort of the American billionaire class and the American media class. How do you, as someone who doesn't live in America, how do you get that so finely tuned?
Well, thank you. I did American studies as a degree. Doesn't necessarily make you, make your ear perfect for American speech rhythms, but it's all right, and it helped. I've worked there quite a bit, and although the show is written, some people may know in the UK, we go and make it in the US. So for 6 months of each year, I'm very much watching Fox and Tucker at night to get filled up on all the news.
Not anymore.
And then also just, book journalism and long form journalism, when sometimes people come and say, you must have spoken to, Shari or James or Lachlan to get this detail. And you're like, do you look at Vanity Fair? Do you look at what their PRs are saying in public every day about each other? It's all there. There's no secrets. I'm sure there are secrets, but there's so much abundance of stuff in the public realm. So that's what we tune into.
You're just paying attention. That's the thing. Well, one of the thrilling things, I think one of the reasons people just love and are so addicted to the show as well is just sort of how transgressive, in a way, the dialogue is. You manage to sort of have them talking exactly how these people do talk and think, without in any kind of unfiltered fashion, without any of the sort of post-Me Too, hyper-policed media landscape kind of dialogue. And I mean, this is another one of my favorite scenes where you see Logan's hapless nephew, Greg, who's always trying to curry favor with the immediate family, defending his decision to Logan's go-to gatekeeper and latest mistress, Kerry, to bring a new date to Logan's 80th birthday party. You know what's coming, right?
So I guess we should...
Hi, welcome. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, Carrie. This is Bridget. Bridget, this is Carrie, Logan's...
Friend, assistant, and advisor.
Friend, assistant, and advisor.
Hey, I'm Bridget.
Hi, Bridget. So great to meet you. Greg, let me and you grab Bridget a drink, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Okay, so excuse us, Bridget.
All right. I'm sorry, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Make yourself at home.
Don't worry about it. Who is this, Greg?
That's my date.
Uh-huh, right, but who is she?
I brought a date. That's okay, right?
What's her name? What's her full name?
Bridget.
Is it Random Fuck? Bridget Random Fuck? Is she from the apps, Greg?
I really like her. I might have fallen for her.
Oh, that's great. How many previous dates have you had?
Carrie, I'm not sure this is appropriate.
We're not a fucking Shake Shack, Greg. This isn't a pre-fuck party. It's a birthday party.
And I am a cousin. I get a +1. I'm like an honorary kid.
Well, you're an honorary kid.
Yeah. I mean, Marsha once said that I was always
Marsha's not here. She's in Milan shopping forever.
I mean, Bridget Random Fuck. I mean, seriously. How do you come up with it?
It takes a hell of a long time, as people will see how eloquent I am on stage speaking live. I need to go back to the page a lot to come up with the good stuff, and also spend 5-6 months in a writer's room. We don't write the episodes there, nor do we, except on rare occasions, come up with lines like that, but discussing the emotional shape and the arcs. And then we go away and write the episodes and rewrite, and then I take a look at things. And then also for something like that on the day, something I learned from doing The Thick of It with Armando and Simon and Tony is we have lots of alternative lines to feed in. So I don't know if that was one of them, but we might have a few different names to throw at the actor to feed in. So yeah, it's a lot of work, which is sort of depressing to hear. You want to feel like they will improvise it all and it's easy. And sometimes it is, but a lot of it is hard work.
That's thrilling to hear, actually. I'm also fascinated that, we all so identify and so kind of hold this family now close to us in terms of how we think about them. It's remarkable to know and read, anyway, I did, that originally you were going to cast Jeremy Strong as Roman and the actor playing Roman as Jeremy, as Kendall, which seems inconceivable. How did such a thing happen, that you would ever have conceived those two highly different actors who seem absolutely wedded to those roles now in their opposites, essentially?
I think how that worked was that Adam McKay, who directed the pilot and did The Big Short, amongst other things, Vice, and he'd worked with Jeremy in a small part on previously on The Big Short, and was like, you've basically got to have this guy in the show. Like, it doesn't matter what part, he should be in it. And I looked at his work and thought, he is great. And so we were like, oh, well, maybe he is Roman. I think how it happened was that then, I think Kieran was the first person who auditioned. As soon as he did an audition, you were like, well, no, he's got the part. He is that guy. He just did it. And so I guess it took a while for us to decide that Jeremy would be Kendall. Anyway, that's how it went.
Amazing. Well, you're closing up the Succession shop just as sort of chaos and despair is reigning all over the media at the moment, and visionaries are looking hapless and hopeless. The tech billionaire in the show, Lucas Matson, played by Alexander Skarsgård, he's another killer, but he's just a bloodless one, right? I mean, and then what is the difference between, in the end, a Peter Matson and a Logan Roy?
What is the difference between, well...
And who would you rather be running our world in media?
Oh, God. I think I had turned that over to your more qualified audience. We're just, I was a sitcom writer originally, and so I'm hoping to make you laugh. I take the fifth on who would be better. I prefer neither of them. Is that an option?
Yeah, it definitely is an option. All right, well, Jesse, thank you. This has been the most wonderful conversation.
Thank you. It's an honour to be here. Thank you.